What's up, guys? B Train here. So today I want to talk about my workflow and just how I make medium scope SRPG studio games, $15, $20 games on Steam. How do I do that while working a full-time job? That sounds insane, right? Well, I'm going to explain that to you right now. And I love learning other creators' workflow. I feel like everybody has their own workflow, and I always find it fascinating. I always gain some insight from it. So here is my version. So first off, I work a full-time job, but first off, it's actually 4 days instead of 5 days. A lot of full-time job is 5 days, so you might have to adjust some things if that is what you're scheduled for. But I do 10-hour shifts, 4 days. I usually finish earlier. I tend to finish in 8 hours. That turns into like a 36-hour work week. So I'm actually kind of fortunate for my situation. But the but that means my schedule is I have 3 days off. So 4 days on, 3 days off. My work days is Friday through Monday. So that means my days off is Tuesday through Thursday. And on my work days, I don't work on my game at all. If I get an idea, I will write it in my Notion page. I will answer emails. If a contractor is trying to talk to me, I will respond to them, but I am not actively opening the game engine and working on it. It's very basic administrative stuff. I need to protect my evening to play video games. So that's the best way I avoid stress. If I work on my game on my work day, I will get stressed out because that is a lot of work in 1 week. So there's that. So what do I do on my 3 days off? On my 3 days off, I see my days in three chunks. And it's kind of video gamey the way I see it. But I see morning, afternoon, evening. And each of these chunk is about 4 or 5 hours each. So because of that, in the morning, I work on my game. I have a 4 hour chunk, sometimes 5 hours. I wake up around 7, 8 a.m. I do wake up and get ready, drink my coffee, stuff like that, play on some music. I turn on the headphone. I start blasting music. I start trying to get in the zone. And then I open my game engine and I start working on my game. And I have 4 hours, 3 days. That means I work on my game 12 hours a week. And I think that is something a lot of game devs would be shocked by, because at least from the presentation and stuff from my game, it looks kind of crazy that you could do that in just 10, 20 hours a week. But I started doing that. And a big reason why is because when you have less hours in a week, you're not going to BS the hours that you do have. I have a master to-do list I need to work on. It is constantly updating. I have 4 hours. I got to do as much as I can. Some days I stop. I'm 2 hours in. Some days even 1 hour. I will work 1 hour. I'm happy with my result. I close it. I close the game engine. I'm not allowed to open it again. That's something that's a boundary I have to not burn out working on the studio. And I imagine a lot of game devs are shocked by that, but I am able to do that. And I will say, I think it would be much harder to do that if it was my first game. So having that boundary is a really big reason why I don't burn out. Once I finish whatever I'm doing, could be 1 hour, could be 4 hours. It depends on my mood. Some days I hit the 4 hours. Even if I want to work my game, I close the game engine and just move on. In the afternoon, I am taking a nap with my cats or whatever. I am doing chores. I am working out, whatever I want to do. It's more of a relaxing period. Nowadays, I'm working on YouTube in the afternoon. Then in the evening, my evening is the same 7 days a week now. I choose to just play video games. I work on my backlog. So I have 4 hours every single day to play my backlog and really get inspired and learn what other games are doing and stuff like that. I love revisiting older games that I love as a kid. Having that 4 hour evening always reduces stress for me. And One of the biggest advice I can give for people who are still doing this after like a few years is try to reduce as much stress as you can, because burnout comes from stress, not working hours. You don't really burn out playing a game you love. I haven't burnt out playing my backlog yet. You burn out from the stress, right? If you love a game 10 out of 10, you're not going to get stressed out playing that all the time, right? So when I work on my game, I try my best not to get stressed out by it. Not perfect 100% of the time, but like it happens, you know. Try your best to manage your stress and you should be fine. That's the best way to make this like sustainable long term. And yes, I want to say that you can make a full scale indie game with just 10, 20 hours. I don't recommend it for beginners. I recommend it for more intermediate developers out there. But you got to have a system that knows how to use your hours efficiently, not hours spent. You're going to need some boundaries eventually, because if you're thinking about your game 24/7, you are actually going to burn out and stress faster, and you're not really doing anything at that point. You know, I don't have the game engine on, but if I'm thinking about it 24/7, I am screwed. So it's 2026. Do I plan to keep on doing this? The answer is yes. I actually quite like my full time job. It's very different from game development, but it's like a physically active job, and I do like that. I also like just getting out of the house and talking to people not related to video games, because I turn into a freaking like caveman if I just work on my game 24/7 like that. So like I like the balance of having a full time job and actually like talking to people outside of this industry. Um, and I feel like money is very easy to get stressed out about. So when I'm able to pay my bills, that reduces stress a lot. And I actually burn out a lot less because of that. Like, yes, I do want to spend more hours on my games sometimes, but I actually think in the 10, 20 hours I work on my game, I'm pretty happy with my result. I actually get a lot done in those hours. And like it took me a while to get that efficient with my time. And like there's always room for improvement for me, but once I had that boundary, I became such a much better developer. you know, I'm a much more happier person. You know, and I see my days in chunks: morning, afternoon, evening, and morning time is almost always game dev day. But that is all I get for my games, and that is hard. It's hard. And like that type of boundary will make people very anxious. But I do recommend it if you're able to do that. All right, well, that's it from me. I hope you guys gained something from this. I'll see you guys next time.